What if a client asks you to design and deliver full website fastly, and you don't have so much time to lose it? I will show you the ultimate shortcut to build and deliver full website from scratch within minutes. First thing you need to do is to go to Stitch from Google. Stitch is very similar to Figma. If you want to use Figma, of course you can do it, but here I want to show you how to use Google Stitch from scratch. And as you can see here, here is a new feature, export to Figma. So you can take this design and go to Figma if you really get used to use Figma. First, you have to decide, does the client want this app as app on mobile phone or as a web? Let's say the client asks you to design it as a web. Now, give Google Stitch the prompt you want. What is the idea about the website? What do you want it to create? Let's say the client asked you to design clinic system with appointment and landing page and dashboard. So how we can handle it? Of course, for creating appropriate prompt, you can ask ChatGPT, Gemini, whatever you want. So the prompt must be very detailed. Actually, I asked ChatGPT to create prompt. And here is the prompt that gave me. Create modern, clean, professional appointment booking website for medical clinic. This line is very important. Then the website should feel trustworthy. Actually, it's optional and we can remove it. But here, as you can see, using soft colors, you can define, of course, the colors you want. Maybe you want neon colors, maybe you want another colors. So here, you have to agree with the client about the design and the UI system. Here is the landing page, which will include hero section, short description, call to action button, book an appointment. And the services page showing different medical services with icon and short description. And here is how the appointment booking page will look like. Inside it, we must have select service, choose date, available time slot, enter basic personal information, then confirmation page showing the appointment details. And for the admin dashboard, it must include the upcoming appointments, calendar style view, symbol statistics card for total appointments and today's appointments. And the website must be responsive, it's a very important line, for desktop and mobile. So you can modify the prompt whatever you want, and I really recommend you to ask ChatGPT or any LLM to help you create full detailed prompt. Now make sure if you want to use web or app. Now let's hit enter, and by the way, here you can choose the model. I really recommend you to use 3 Pro because it will think before giving all the information. Now let's get started and hit enter to generate. Now it starts generating. Estimated time 110 seconds to design. Of course, it might take a little bit time because it's not a simple website. This website will include everything. And look at this, how many cards or how many pages it will design. Meanwhile, let's go to Antigravity to create our folder I have created before. Now I will open new folder and I will choose the folder I created to get started. We will use Next.js to create this full stack app. And I will use Clerk for user authentication because it's very practical to use it. It provides us a ready-made form, and I will show you exactly how it works. Let's go to Next.js. Let's install Next.js here, Next.js 16. Ctrl J. And inside it, let's paste it. Don't forget to put point here so everything will be created inside this folder. Now I will use the recommended defaults. Let me here zoom in to show you. Recommended defaults includes, by default, TypeScript, Tailwind CSS, S-linked. The second step, since now Google Stitch is creating or generating the website, let's first take a look to the website before moving to Clerk. Here we can click on Preview New tab. Here is the hero section. Here is Book Now. And here is the services, medical services, and the rating. I think the landing page includes everything. What about the other pages? Let's take new tab and preview. This page is, as you can see, the services page with all the details. I think it's very nice. Now let's move on to the next one. And if we have any error, we can ask it to modify that, and I will show you how to modify. Here is the appointment page, the calendar, the specialist, and users information. Nice. And here is the confirmation page for appointment, as you can see here. And by the way, here we can see the website if it's responsive or not. As you can see here, these options. Okay, it created for us two separate pages. The first one is book an appointment steps. And this one is clinic dashboard. Let's open clinic dashboard. This is for the admin. And it includes everything, the patients, total appointments, upcoming appointments, quick actions, and everything. Well, I think the design is very nice. It includes everything. If you want to modify it, of course, you can click the page you want, then edit or add to chat. And inside the prompt, you can ask Google Stitch whatever you want to modify it. Or you can modify it by yourself by click on Edit, Design System, and Create from Medical Service Overview. So if you want to modify the same page, or if you want to create your own page from scratch, of course you can choose it, but here I will choose the same page to modify it. Here we can change the color. If you don't want the blue color, of course you can do it maybe red, as you can see here, an example or preview. But I really like this color, so I will not change it. Let's go back. Now here is the secret. The next step is to connect Google Stitch with Antigravity. By connecting Antigravity with Google Stitch MCP, just go back here and search for, as you can see, additional options, MCP servers. Search for Google Stitch, or maybe only Stitch. As you can see here, click on it. I installed it before, but I will show you exactly how to do it. Click on Stitch. Then it will ask you for API key. You might here not see the API key. We can't find the API key inside Configure, and here is Stitch API key. So how we can get it? Actually, it shows us how to get the API key. We can do it by ourselves. Just go back here to Stitch Settings, and here create an API key. I created before, so I will copy it and paste it inside Antigravity and save it. Okay, and here is the tools that will be created inside Antigravity, like create project, get project, list projects. So get projects or list projects is very important because it will give Antigravity access to know all our projects inside Stitch. Actually, how we can find our projects, just go back here to go to all projects and you can see all your projects. By the way, naming the project is very important. And by default, Google Stitch gives default name for every project. As you can see here, Stitch gave us here booking confirmation by default. So now if I ask Antigravity after we click save, let me ask it here, give me my project or projects list inside Google Stitch. Now, as you can see here, MCP tools now are working with list project tool. And here is all my projects. The one I need is booking confirmation. As you can see here, the name. So I can ask it, I want to design the first project, and I will give it the name booking confirmation calls booking confirmation from scratch. And here I can say also your task is to design the UI UX of the existing medical clinic appointment booking system without missing any details. And we will use Clerk for user auth and protected routes for dashboard, so only the admin or the doctor can navigate to the dashboard. And now for the database. Define which database you want to use. I will use Neon with Prisma. So I will use the ORM for our project, Prisma ORM. So here I can paste this prompt inside the same prompt you are creating. Here I say, now define the database using Prisma ORM with PostgreSQL. And by the way, I have so many projects inside my channel about how to create full website from scratch using Prisma and PostgreSQL. So here I define inside it the models I want. Actually, if you don't ask Antigravity to create the models, it will handle them by itself, but it's better if you define everything. I define this, so it will include the user model, doctor model, and service model. And every model will have name, email. Here, as you can see, the user is very important to define the role for protected routes. And here the doctor, services, appointment, which will include relation to user, doctor, or services. So here, define proper relations between models. And it's very important to say and think user Clerk, since you are using Clerk, with Neon. So whenever user sign in or make appointment, the user info will be sent also to Neon. Of course, I will show you how we will use Neon and how we can connect Neon to our project. And by the way, this project is a little bit advanced level. So if you are not really programmer or beginner, you might find some difficult things inside it. So I really recommend you to watch all my videos of how to create full website using Next.js and Prisma, connecting to Neon. Now let's hit enter and get started. And I really recommend you here inside settings, go to Open Antigravity User Settings. Whenever Antigravity starts creating anything, it must ask us about everything. Here, as you can see, we have always proceed, which means it will handle everything without asking us. And I really don't recommend you to use it because Antigravity might make mistakes. So I really recommend you to use request review. So whenever, as you can see here right now, this notification, whenever Antigravity will do any step, it will ask us. So everything must be request review. Now here, it will give us implementation plan. So before it starts, it will show us how we'll create the website. Since I asked him to connect Clerk with database or Neon, it will create Clerk webhooks to sync user to the database. And it's very nice option. Actually, we have another option by using only use effect, but I recommend you to use Clerk webhooks, so we will learn much better about Clerk. Then it will create database URL for Neon to connect Neon database with our website, and I will show you how to connect it. Then, inside database schema. Here are our models, user model, doctor, service, appointment. And here it will use Clerk sync strategy by using API, webhooks, Clerk. It's okay. And it will install SFix. Everything is okay until now. This is actually now for the back end. Now it's only handling the back end without the front end. So maybe it will start step by step. I will proceed this one if I really liked it. Then it will start creating the back end and the strategy of the back end. Meanwhile, we can install, if you want, Clerk, and actually Antigravity we will handle it by itself, but I will show you how to install it. Just go back to Clerk. Here, click on Dashboard after you create account or sign in. Before that, now Antigravity asks me permission to install Clerk from Next.js, and it will install Prisma client, SFix, and everything. I will hit run. Now, for Clerk, here, go and create application. Choose whatever you want. It can be, for example, Medora. Here you can click whatever you want for authentication system. By default, it will choose Google. I will choose also Facebook if you want, and GitHub. Then create application. I have also another command for installing Prisma. Okay. Now, since we are using Next.js, here we have to make sure to create first Next.js app, and we already created. Then we have to install Clerk Next.js. Actually, Antigravity handle it, so we don't need to install it right now. But the most important thing now is to create .env. So inside the root of our project, here, click on copy, go back, and inside the folder which includes package.json, I will create .env Clerk.local. Inside it, I will paste everything because it includes Clerk publishable key and secret key. Then the next step is to create proxy folder or proxy file, including the middleware. So let's create it. By the way, before proxy file, the name was middleware.ts, not proxy.ts. Then Clerk made some updates, so we have to rename it to proxy. And by the way, Antigravity might miss this one and rename it with middleware. And if you rename it with middleware, Clerk might not work properly. So inside the root of our project, proxy.ts, let's paste everything. Actually, Antigravity can handle this by itself without doing these steps, but I want to show you how we can use Clerk. Now let's go back. Inside layout, we have to wrap our project with Clerk provider. So let's do it before Antigravity does that for us, just for learning purposes. Let's go to Layout, inside App, Layout. Here let's implement Clerk provider. Like this, and import it. Now, after Antigravity created all these models, as you can see here, it created Prisma, and inside the schema Prisma, here is the models. After it created the models, it should run npx prisma generate command to push these data or models to Neon. Now let's continue. Or before continue, look at this. It's editing proxy.ts to middleware.ts, and it's a big mistake. We have to avoid it. I will reject this one since I created it by myself inside proxy. Now let's delete this one, and here I will allow this conversation for editing example here .env because it created another one, but it's not a big problem. We can handle it since we have here .env.local. Now the next step, we want to create the database URL which comes from Neon. So let's take it, put it inside .env.local. How to get this one? Actually, it asks me here to create .env file, to put database URL and the Clerk publishable key and webhook secret for Clerk. So let's take also webhook secret. It created dummy URL here for database. Actually, we don't want to use it. So I will remove it. I don't want this one. Inside .env.example, it also asks me to create webhook secret. Let's create it together from Clerk. So it asks me to create two things. The first one is database URL and webhook secret, as you can see. Now let's create the database URL. How to get database URL? Let's go back to Neon. Here is Neon serverless Postgres. Login. I have these projects before. I will create another one. And it can be Medora, for example. And let's create this project. Now click on connection string. As you can see here, this is the database URL we want. So let's copy it. But before that, make sure to show password to. Paste it without these stars. Now let's paste it inside database URL. Okay. Now the next step. It asks me to create or to run npx prisma db push to sync the schema to Neon database. So let's make it, but I think here there is something wrong inside Prisma client. Because actually in the new versions inside Prisma, we have to replace this with adapter. Because if I go back here inside Prisma documentation and search for Prisma PG, since we are connecting Prisma to, as you can see here above, to connect to PostgreSQL database, and in our case we are using Neon, we need configuration data source. And if I go down here, as you can see, we have to install something called Prisma Adapter PG to connect it to PostgreSQL server. So I will ask it handle the error inside prisma.ts by using Prisma Adapter PG. As you can see inside this one here, as you can see here inside this one. So this is the first one. The second one, we can say handle the front end design if you finish or after finishing everything inside backend. Now it's updating the implementation plan to configure Prisma adapter PG as requested. Okay, let's hit enter. And now it started creating the front end, appointments route, and this route is for doctor's route, and this one is for services route. And here is the post request, the data which will come from the front end, name, description, duration, price. Okay, let's accept this and we will check later if there is any problem. Now, the most important thing inside .env.local. Here we have webhook secret, how to get it. Let's go back here to Clerk inside configure. Search for webhooks. Click on it. As you can see, it's inside developers. Here we will add new endpoint. And inside it, we will have here the URL. First, I will put our local host. Then here is the thing we have to know for webhooks. Here, when Antigravity creates webhooks, here we need to define where is this webhooks. It's inside API, webhooks, Clerk. So here we have to say, or we have to define API webhooks Clerk, because it's very important. And we have to activate something here. Let's search for user.created, let's choose it, and also user.updated, or if you want also to use user.deleted. Let's create this endpoint. And now here is our signing secret. Let's copy it and paste it inside .env.local. Let's paste it here. I realized that Antigravity haven't created prisma.config.ts, and it's very important to create it, otherwise we can't make migrations. So here when we make migration after creating the models by hitting npx prisma migrate dev, now we can see database neon. And by the way, how we can get all these codes? You can find it easily inside documentation of Prisma. That's one, prisma.config.ts, just copy paste it. Now the name for new migration, it can be whatever you want, like maybe appointment. Okay, applying migrations. Database now is synced with your schema. That means if we go back to Neon, go to tables, and now you can see appointment, doctors, service, and user. Now Antigravity just created dummy data just to make sure that it's working, but how to seed these files? Actually, it's created seed.ts here. If we go back to Prisma Next.js documentation, just go down here inside Prisma config ts. As you can see, here we have to put seed. It's very important. Just put it inside config or inside Prisma config after this, or you can copy paste all these codes here. Then we have to run npx prisma db seed. Okay, let's handle it. Now we have an error. tsx is not recognized. And it's very common error, because actually we have to define it inside node modules. If you ask Antigravity about it, it will say, just replace it here with seed, as you can see here, npx tsx. Now let's try to run it again. Now it's seeding. I hope everything will be working without problem. Antigravity just gave me for services model and nothing for the others. If we refresh now inside Neon, now we can see all the data has been seeded. Doctors nothing, appointment nothing, only the service. Now still we don't have anything for the front end. That's why I asked it again to apply the front end design and use the proper MCP tool to handle it again and start with front end, since I think now the back end is ready. And now as you can see here, it's saying that I identified all the 5 Stitch screen and their content structure. It's very nice to see it. Now here is our implementation plan for the design system from Stitch. It is the font it should use, the primary color, it's recognized everything, and the icons. It will use material icons, framework, theme, light mode, round, 12 corners, Then we have the global CSS, the layout. It will change the font from guest to enter and update metadata, title description, which inside the layout. As you can see here, metadata, it will change it according to our project with the appropriate title and description. And there is the navbar, sticky navbar with Medicare Plus logo, including these nav items and the Clerk user button as we asked, and 4 column, 4 footer, and the page's 5 stitch screens, because it recognized we have here 5 pages with departments grid here inside, services page, I think, and here is the appointment page, booking confirmation, admin dashboard, and as you can see here, protected route, admin, doctor role. Now, let's hit OK. I think the implementation plan, including everything. And look at this. Here is our website is ready. It's amazing. It's matching everything inside Stitch. Let's take a look inside the landing page. I think it's the same. It took about 5 to 10 minutes to handle it. So here is the landing page. Let's go to the service. And here is the service also. Let's take a look to the Stitch here and inside the service page. Preview. Here is our web and here is Stitch. It's very similar to everything we want. Now let's go to Book Now. Look at this loading icon. Select Service. Let's go to Book Now. Inside Stitch. And it's the same design inside it. Stitch, here is our web. If we click on anything, since we don't have doctors, we cannot choose anyone. Okay, but it's not a problem, we will handle it. But I think it forgot to create this time slot and calendar and this information, because it handled it inside date and time here. Because we don't have it inside Stitch, as you can see here inside Stitch, we have only 3 steps, but inside our website we have 4 steps. That's why it didn't make it inside the first step. If you don't like this one, of course you can ask Antigravity again to create it, especially like this one, but I think we can make it in 4 steps, it's no problem, but here we will choose a doctor before that. Now our database, especially doctors, is empty, that's why we can't see anything. Let's go to the dashboard, and here is our dashboard. But actually I think it's not protected, because now I am visiting this page as a guest. I don't have any Clerk authentication. So we must handle it, it's very important. Let's click on sign in. Let's see, did it handle it or not? It didn't handle it because we are seeing here sign in is 404. That means we don't have this page, but it's not a problem. We can create it by ourselves. Let me show you how to create these pages. Let me go back to Clerk. Dashboards. Here is our project. We did all these steps, so all we need to do is to continue. Then we have to create this page. We will take the same route, go back to app, new file, paste this route. Let me close here everything. It must be inside app, so please make sure to make it especially like a Clerk. Now inside this page, now it's empty. Let's put everything. Let's give it some styles, div, class name, flex, items, center, justify center, and also hide screen. And margin top, it can be, let's try 10. And let's do the same thing for sign up page. But we have to modify the proxy before that. It's very important because we are creating here sign up page, so we have to modify proxy. Here is proxy. Let's copy paste everything. That means all the pages except sign in will be protected. Actually, we don't want this. We will make some exceptions about that because the landing page will not be protected. That's why I added it. And also let's add the sign up. Here is the book page. Let me take a look inside book page. Actually, book page must be protected, so I will not add it. Instead of that, I will put sign up. But I have to create this page before. So let me go down. Let me put everything inside .env. Let me paste it. It's for sign in. Now let's go for create custom sign up page. Also, let's create this route inside app, new file, paste it, take this code, and also create div and do the same thing and the same styles as you can see here. Okay, then go down, modify proxy to add sign up page. We added before. Then inside .env again sign up. Okay, now we have to hit again npm run dev. Now as you can see, whenever I click on sign in, it redirected me to sign in page, or if you want, you can make it and create account by sign up, whatever you want. Now let me sign in using Google, or if you want to use Facebook or GitHub. Okay. Now I can see the user button here, manage account and everything. If I try to make sign out and try to access book now, I can't book anything after I make sign in. So this page now is protected. But what about the dashboard? Anyone now can access the dashboard. I only need, for example, my email to access it as an admin or doctor. So how we can handle it? We have to create a new API for that called user to check the user authentication, or the user role actually here. As you can see, select true, name and email, and according to name and email we can define if it's doctor or admin. And if we go back to schema Prisma, here for the user the default role is patient. And now if we create this API and then the page here inside dashboard that gives the roles, as you can see here, when I ask Antigravity to create it, here inside it, it creates use effect whenever the user sign in. So whenever the user sign in, it will be by default as a patient, get user role patient, unless we modified it inside dashboard or inside database. So here is how we can check it. Let me click OK, refresh the page. Now if I try to access the dashboard, here I can see access restricted. And now I can see also the user info, which is my info inside user, since we have here the sync user inside component, because Antigravity created when I ask it to sync user to database, and here is sync user component, then we have to define it inside our whole app, inside layout, as you can see here, sync. Now my role by default is patient. Let's change it to doctor. Save changes, refresh the page. Let's access the dashboard, and now we can see our dashboard, because now I am admin. Actually, if you remember inside the Clerk, we added webhooks. As you can see here, we have webhooks, but since we are using here sync user and this route, actually we don't need after that webhooks, it's optional. But I showed you two ways to create or to sync user Clerk especially to Neon. And now we can see our dashboard, and here is the patients now is empty. Of course, we can ask Antigravity to create a appropriate page because we don't have it inside Stitch. That's why it keep it empty. But for the stuff here, if you ask Antigravity to create a new doctor, of course, it will create it. You can add a new doctor. And by the way, this form is not found in Stitch. So I asked Antigravity to create it, and here is the doctor name and all the information. If I add anything here, no user account, specialization, let's say cardiologist, and choose image. Let's choose this image and create doctor. Doctor added successfully, and here is the doctor information. Here is the ID. Of course, we can add more information, whatever you want. If we go back to the dashboard and refresh it, now everything is 0. Let's try to make appointment inside the app. Let's book appointment here. Let's choose maybe general consultation. Here is the doctor which we created. I will choose it. Here is my form as a patient. I will continue. Now choose the date and time, confirm booking. And now appointment confirmed. As I said, you can add whatever you want. I'm just showing you how to deal with Google Stitch with Antigravity. Now, view dashboard. As an admin, I can see the dashboard, of course. Now, as you can see, total appointments 1, pending 1. Here is the doctor, here's the consultation, and here is the date. As you can see now, it's pending, so we have to create, maybe inside these nav links or whatever inside the dashboard, to change the status from pending to maybe cancelled or approved. And of course, you can ask Antigravity again about that. Just you can say, now it's pending, what we should create inside this dashboard to change the status. And hit enter. And as you can see, we didn't write any code, but make sure to review Antigravity's code. Maybe not everything will be correct, or maybe the plan might be missing something. Now it's creating the appointment ID, routes, and updated dashboard. And why it chooses the ID? Because we will change only the status inside the appointment. Now it's creating here patch. As you can see with patch, status handler. And here is the patch, prisma.user.find unique according to ID. And if it's not admin or not doctor, forbidden, the user cannot delete it. And according here to the ID, the status, as you can see, pending, confirmed, cancelled. We can update it. Let's accept the changes. Now inside this page, inside the dashboard, also it included this handle update status, which comes from the API as it created before a while, like handle doctor delete, handle doctor create, whatever. And we have also to add this function. And it is the right API appointments ID method patch. Now let's hit accept. Now if we refresh the page, I can see here 3 status. I will choose whatever I want. For example, I will choose confirm. Now it's confirmed, as you can see. I can click cancel if I want. If I click on cancel, now the appointment is cancelled. You can modify it whatever you want. Now let's deploy our website to Vercel. I really recommend you inside Antigravity. Before making run build, we can ask him to check all possible TypeScript errors or any errors before deploy the app. So whenever we deploy the app on Vercel, we will not face any issue or any error. That's why it's making now npm run build. And as it says, no errors found. So let's check that. First, we need to deploy our app on GitHub. So let's create here a new repository called, it might be long, but I choose appointment app by Stitch and Antigravity. Now let's create repository and paste all these commands. And I really recommend you to choose CodeRabbit to review your code, initialize. Here, all these files. If we click on review all changes, it might give us some recommendation if there is any error. Now it's starting to review our code. By the way, I haven't made git init or git add yet. I asked before CodeRabbit to handle or to review my code before doing that. And on the contrary, as you can see, CodeRabbit just found 42 issues. So if you click on fix all issues, let's see what will happen. Select files. Let's choose all of them. Okay. Now it will start handling these issues. And now, as you can see, all comments resolved. Great job. Okay. Let's go back to our terminal to deploy it first on GitHub. Git init, git add, git commit. If you click on yes here for CodeRabbit again, it will start in review, but actually it reviewed our code before a while. I just want to tell you that you can do it. Then git branch, git remote, git push. Let's refresh the page. And here is our app. Now let's go to Vercel. Click on Add New Project. And as you can see, here is our repository. Just click on it. Since we have environment variables, we have to upload it separately. So click on import.env and choose the .env file. Then click on Deploy. It will start deploying our website. And here is our website. Everything is ready. Just click on it. And here is our website. If we try to sign in, just sign in. And since I am admin, I can navigate to Dashboard. So here how you can handle it if you were asked to create fast website including everything as a full stack app. Of course, there are a lot of methods you can use. Instead of Google Stitch and Antigravity, maybe you prefer to use Figma MCP with cursor. Is very nice choice. But here in this lesson, I prefer to use Google Stitch with Antigravity to show you how powerful they are. So if you like this project, hit the like button and just tell me what would you like the next lesson to be.